You're listening to a programme from BBC Radio Scotland.
First wildlife sighting of the day, and it is terrific. An absolutely huge pod of dolphins right alongside the boat, some of them diving just beneath us. I wouldn't even like to guess numbers. They're behind us, they're beside us, they're underneath us. It just couldn't be better.
Hello, good morning, and a very warm welcome to a special edition of Out of Doors here on BBC Radio Scotland. I'm Mark Stephen, guiding you today from the highest summits to the furthest outposts of this great wee country. This year at Out of Doors, Ewan and I, along with a few other BBC colleagues, set ourselves the challenge of finding places in Scotland that we'd never been. Places to visit and explore. We've been running these features over the last few months, but today we thought we'd bring them all together for you as an hour-long treat. As I mentioned earlier, we invited some of our BBC Scotland colleagues to find a place they'd never been and to record their experience of going there. First in the queue was David Miller, BBC Scotland's environment correspondent, who very cleverly volunteered that he'd never been to St Kilda. We join him just off Uig on Skye, aboard the Rib Integrity.
Stornoway Coast Guard. We are on the way to St Kilda from Uig. Our estimated time of arrival in St Kilda is around 1 o'clock.
Just heading out of Uig now. The boat has just started to pick up speed, a bit bumpy. I am slightly nervous and probably even more excited. I've been dreaming about this now for the last 2 nights. Fantastic atmosphere on board. Surprised how many Scots are on board, actually. I was expecting more people from the rest of Europe, to be honest, but I get the sense that basically the trip today is largely for Scottish people like me who've grown up with this fascination for these islands. Whoa, look at this fellow! First wildlife sighting of the day, and it is terrific! An absolutely huge pod of dolphins right alongside the boat, some of them diving just beneath us. I wouldn't even like to guess numbers. What would you say, 20 or so?
Oh, at least.
The front of the boat at 11 o'clock. They're behind us, they're beside us, they're underneath us. It just couldn't be better. Yeah, outside on the back of the boat now. And you can hear the reaction, can't you? It's as if they're putting on a show for us, almost guiding us over the water to St Kilda.
You can just see St Kilda coming into focus now, which is just behind Borrery, and around St Kilda is where there's so many of the gannets actually live. And again, you can see the full white-topped rock formation here, and it's not snow.
I'm amazed just at the size of the rock formations already, even from 14 miles you were saying out. It is looking spectacular. And I think for once luck is on my side, because I was really worried about low clouds, driving rain. Doesn't look like we're going to get any of that, and I think it's going to be spectacular.
Skye has just come alive with seabirds.
It has absolutely crammed almost every square inch of airspace full of puffins. It's like swarming wasps, but much more benign, much more colourful, much more characterful. I've never seen so many puffins in one place.
St Kilda Warden, St Kilda Warden, St Kilda Warden. This is Rib Integrity, Rib Integrity, Rib Integrity, over.
Integrity, St Kilda Warden, over.
Good afternoon. We're just coming now into Village Bay. We will drop anchor or pick up a mooring, and we will put the guests over to the pier at 1 o'clock. Over.
Kilda Roden received that. That's fine. So we'll see you in about 20 minutes. Over.
I've got a hand here if you like to take this and then come ashore from there.
Thank you. Fantastic, Derek. We'll see you in a few hours.
Yes.
After all those hours on the fast boat, it was a real relief to arrive here in St Kilda, get off the back into a little Zodiac. The dinghy brought us across to the jetty here and up into the village. A very, very strange experience, I think, for anyone who, like me, grew up being told about St Kilda, looking at pictures of St Kilda on the television, to actually see these little houses all on their own with the cleats behind them, and stepping in and out of them, seeing the stories about the people who lived there, whether they were still occupied at the time of the evacuation in 1930. Many of them weren't. Just very, very curious. It's always odd, isn't it, to be able to walk into somebody's house and you get that immediate connection with the history of a place.
Sin mar húri an seagan bhuachil sin scapnis slógar nachil sin yála as trígar smói.
On a day like today, it all feels very benign, but I guess back in 1930 this was a population really at the end of their tether. They wanted to leave. They had mixed emotions, of course, and I can only begin to imagine what it must have been like for them looking off the back of their steamer and seeing their homeland disappearing into the distance.
Oh, those are good things. Oh, much better.
Focus on my eyes, so just change.
Wow, so the number of gannets up in the air is extraordinary. That's a whole lot of gannets, isn't it?
It's an amazing spectacle, like when you go over there in a boat and you just look up. And my name is Gina Pryor and I work for the National Trust as the Seabird Ranger in St Kilda. We have an amazing assemblage of birds here. So we have the gannets behind us. We're looking over towards Borray in the distance there, and there's 120,000 gannets just wheeling around there. It's the largest colony in the world. And then we have huge populations of leecher storm petrels and also noteworthy populations of European storm petrels. There's a huge number of formers here, an enormous amount of puffins. It's just endless, really.
Gina, in my day job working for BBC Scotland news programmes, I've been doing a lot of reporting on decline in seabird populations. What's the picture here?
It's a mixed tale, really. So we know that the population of gannets over on Borray in the Stacks is fairly stabilised in recent years. The numbers of puffins we think are declining, but it's quite difficult out here because there are so many species spread across a wide area that the counts are hard to do. So the big seabird count happens every 10 years or so. The last one was conducted in 2000, so we're due one, and then we'll have a better picture and idea of what's going on. But some smaller studies that have taken place recently sort of suggest that the puffins are declining. The kittiwakes have massively declined, which is a tale that's happening in other seabird colonies in Scotland as well.
Tell me about you, Gina, because I'm thinking, for a seabird expert, there can't be many jobs in Britain as good as this one.
No, this without a doubt is absolutely unbelievable. I really love my job out here and I'm incredibly lucky to be here. This is my third season as a seabird ranger and I just enjoy it. I have an amazing position out here because I can just go wandering and my job takes me to all parts of the island where people just don't normally get to go. So yeah, I'm incredibly lucky and I know that for a fact. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Sorry, Slanley, going to the Scotland for a well shift have
Just a remarkable place to come. Very, very difficult to describe the uniquely strange atmosphere here, this sense of history, our social history, our natural history, cheek by jowl with a modern Ministry of Defence establishment and this strange radio antenna up on top of the hill there. It's not difficult to see why this place has double World Heritage status, and it's not difficult either to see why so many people do want to come here, albeit bringing with them some pressure for the National Trust of Scotland to have to look after this place for the next generation.
Okay, David, give me your bags
Thank
and we'll
you.
pass these on board.
Thank you. The 4 hours we have here in St Kilda have just flown by. Time to get back on the boat now, head over to the mainland. Just time to catch up with Paul Sharman, the ranger naturalist here for the National Trust for Scotland, who, unlike me, can stay here on St Kilda.
I think St Kilda fills a place in the modern dream, a place, it's almost, people come here as a pilgrimage. In terms of fiction, it reminds me a bit of Solaris or Frankenstein. The modern man disappears to find sanctuary in the Arctic wastes, and I wonder whether there's an element of that as well. And there was this supposedly utopian community here that was probably never was anything more than an ordinary Hebridean community, but somehow they're being mythologised, and people still come here looking for the myth.
Kevin, thanks again. Good to see you. Until
Thanks,
next time.
Thank you.
We'll be back, whether you like it or not.
BBC Scotland's environment correspondent David Miller on St Kilda. That's all we've got time for this morning, and indeed for 2013. Thanks very much to all our contributors in today's programme, and to you for listening throughout the year. From me, Ewan, and all of the Out of Doors team, our researcher Julia Hamilton, producer Christopher Slight, and engineers Ron McCaskill and Doug Maskew, and of course our senior producer Helen Needham, a very happy new year. Thanks for listening to the Scotland Outdoors podcast. If you'd like more information, then please go to our website at bbc.co.uk/Radio Scotland.